Okay, we are live. Now I'm going to do a test, guys. I'm going to do a test. I'm going to play something I played today. I don't know if it's going to come out right, so I'm going to be like looking at your comments and you tell me if the playback is clear because I was just playing it back a second ago and there was kind of a lag. So let me see if it's stuttering, then I'll stop it. But I'm going to play it just like a minute and a half of me playing piano. So let me see. Let me see if it works, okay? So here we go. Okay, so it's people saying it's lagging. So yeah, I don't know why. So when I played it earlier, it was fine, and then now when I played it again, it was stuttering. And I looked at the CPU; it wasn't stuttering. So don't know, don't know. So anyway, nice try. So we're not gonna do that. I have no idea why. It's just maybe I need to record it in lower resolution. Maybe it's because it's in 4K. So yeah, so we'll do a translation. I'll send it out in 1080p next time. So I think maybe that's the answer. It's like it needs to be in 1080p. This software can't handle 4K. So probably that's it. So anyway, I just wanted to put a little delay here because some people said that there's an ad at the beginning of the video on the live stream, and that you're actually not hearing the first part of this. So anyway, welcome guys, and we have an important topic, and some of you are already putting in your 2 cents, and it's going to be interesting to see if I agree with you or not, because probably not. I probably don't agree. So okay, so guys, the question is Android custom ROMs, and there's some comments that I got. This is basically in response to somebody who made a comment in the video. Somebody made a comment in the video that was so adamant that if you're not using X, then you don't have the benefits of a custom ROM. Therefore, you should just give up. You shouldn't do anything. It's too late for you. It's too late for you. So we're going to discuss that in kind of a broad way. And the reason I need to educate you in this, because I've actually just come across another privacy channel. Actually, it's more of a Linux channel, but it's like a Linux / privacy channel. And once again, I look at the content, and I don't know what it is. And it's a very popular channel. It might actually catch me soon. It's very popular. I mean, it's might have more subscribers than I will at some point here, and that's okay. But the thing that I want to talk to you about is to tell you that I don't know what it is, but I'm different, and my channel is different, and what I tell you is different, and I don't really buy what they say. I don't buy what they say. And just like some of the people here who promote whatever they want to promote, I don't buy what they say either. And the reason I don't buy what they say, because they don't really understand the privacy problem. They do not. They do not. They're saying, if you use X custom ROM, you're going to be the safest, and there is no alternative to this. This is the best one. Okay, let's start with that assumption. I hope I'm not overdoing the mic here. Is my mic volume okay? Is it too loud when I'm, getting hyper, and I saw it like turning red here, so I can turn it down a little bit if it's too loud. Hey, from England, Carl from England. So So we're gonna educate you. We're gonna educate you. So this is not about defending myself offline. This is definitely not about. I don't really care about defending myself. It's about educating you, because there's so much disinformation out there from people who do not really understand the privacy problem. They don't really understand it. So, mic is disabled. Okay, am I too loud? Okay, let me just keep some distance here with the microphone. I'm just watching it. It kind of turned red for a moment there. So, I got to keep that kind of distance here. So anyway, it's really sad because the crowd, and it's a bit of a crowd. The crowd says you need to do X, you need to do Y, you need to do Z, and if you do these, because we're the experts, you're going to be safe. Well, the problem is, what if you disagree with X, Y, and Z? And I really do, because the people who are making these comments really have no sucking idea what they're talking about. I mean, it's really sad. They really have no sucking idea. Okay. Now I'll just make kind of a example comment. So somebody said, "Oh, I love Signal." Snowden loves Signal. Therefore, we must use Signal. And it's like, yeah, I guess you can believe whatever you want to believe because you don't understand the privacy problem. So my problem with Signal is the phone number. Okay, that's it. That's primarily it. It's the phone number and the fact that when you make a contact and they upload your sucking contact list, they inform all of your contacts that you're in Signal. And you're saying, well, Signal doesn't really know my phone number. Incorrect. Signal knows your phone number. Oh, Signal doesn't keep the phone number. It's kept as a hash. No, not correct. Okay, not correct. They acknowledge that. They acknowledge that, unless you're not bright enough to figure it out. But I guess I am. So I looked at it and I said, oh yeah. So yeah, they do have the phone number. So yeah. So is Signal okay? Yes, I use Signal. I love Signal with family. So I use Signal with family, and Signal is great with family because no one's going to be correlating my phone number with my family members because they already have that. That's common knowledge. You can, you don't need a contact list to do that. All you say is who's related to whom, and based on that, you can just correlate phone numbers. That doesn't give them any more data. It's fine. You can have that data all you want. That's fine with me. But when you have 1,000, 2,000 contacts on your contact list, and they're all correlated to your participation in Signal, and then they make what is called a relationship map, and people don't understand the importance of this. This is big. This is a big deal. This is a big deal, guys. The intelligence agencies do not need to know what you're talking about. All they need to know is who's talking to whom. If there's any way to get that information in any kind of a way, you are zucked. So don't tell me you can just ignore that. You cannot ignore that. You cannot ignore that. If you ignore it, you're stupid. There's so many of these that people promote. Oh, it's end-to-end encrypted. Well, who cares if it's end-to-end encrypted if they know everything? A good example is WhatsApp. WhatsApp. Oh, WhatsApp is using the Signal protocol for end-to-end encryption. Yeah, right. It's not open source, but okay, so they're using the Signal protocol for end-to-end encryption. But I don't even have to guess if they put any backdoors or anything. I don't have to guess this because it is clear from the Facebook terms of service that WhatsApp tracks who talks to whom. It's in the terms of service, for goodness sakes. They already tell you that. So you're saying, well, it's secure. It's end-to-end encrypted. If you're dumb enough to think that it's all about end-to-end encryption, you shouldn't be in the privacy business. You shouldn't even be talking privacy because apparently you don't even understand the problem. Okay, now let me raise kind of a really funny one. It's like saying, "Oh, you need to use Android Custom ROM X because it's the most secure. It is the most secure. You will never be safer with Android Custom ROM X." Okay. Maybe these people, promoting Android Custom ROM X have been hiding under a rock because they use the word secure, not privacy. They use the word secure. So if they're going to use the word secure, then I'm going to kill you on the word secure. Okay? I'm going to tell you right now that there is no zucking Android Custom ROM that is secure. Private, maybe. There is no Android Custom ROM that is secure. None. Why do I say that? Because Android Custom ROMs are part of the application processor side. They have no control over the modem processor side, which is the baseband sucking modem, which will be in the next video. So to say you are secure makes an assumption that they cannot hack the phone with your Android Custom ROM, which is completely false. Completely false. Every phone can be hacked through the baseband modem. Every phone. Okay? Every phone. No exceptions if it's every phone. No exceptions, yes. But especially saying that Android Custom ROMs are secure, it is no more secure than any Android. Oh, I put in this little feature here, and I do this little thing in here on the Android Custom ROM, and so it's more secure because of it. It doesn't matter because it has nothing to do with the baseband modem. The baseband modem is hackable. So that is not my point. My point is that an Android Custom ROM, if done the right way without Google, meaning de-Googled, is private. Private. I didn't say secure. I said private. Therefore, as a privacy solution, I highly recommend Android Custom ROMs. However, I do not believe that some of these claims that people say that, hey, my Android Custom ROM is better than X. Well, first of all, Android itself is secure enough, or Google would be telling you that all Androids are not secure, which is not true. Android is actually quite secure to a point, not counting the baseband modem. Not counting the baseband modem. So if you're going to say, well, we're better than Google Android, we do all the security thing. Well, if you're going to do that, then can you actually make the modem secure? Of course not. So why are you making these claims that are, oh, my custom ROM is better? It's like, why are you making these claims? You're just lying to people because, of course, I know, everyone knows that the baseband modem can be hacked, and none of us have any solution to it, because nobody can see what's in the baseband modem. Oh, no, it's not true. It's not true. That's Rob Braxton, he's lying. It's not true. We're secure. The reason we believe that there's no possible way to hack a baseband modem is we have not hacked it yet. We have not hacked it. Well, maybe you're not reading the right documentation here. I've seen it hacked many a time. I mean, even just with something as basic as SimJacker and Pegasus, and there's many more, which I'll talk about in the next video. So anyway, all I'm saying here, we need to understand what I am recommending to you, why I recommend Android Custom ROMs without Google, meaning no gaps. There are many of them. what some of the flaws in these are, some of them are actually very minor flaws. In my mind, they're minor. They are not the biggest source of privacy issues. You can be nitpicky and say this and that, but you're actually missing the problem. I'm going to get into more of this. I only have 15 minutes to finish what I'm saying here. So let's see. Okay, so let's start with the what am I talking about? I got too emotional and I forgot what I was talking about. So let me see if I can get back to what I'm talking about here, what I'm thinking about. Anyway, so the main advantage of a custom ROM de-Googled. This is really, I don't know why nobody mentions this. They're saying this is a privacy solution. They always say that this is a privacy solution, but they don't really tell you why it's a privacy solution. I don't understand this. I don't understand this. Why do they claim to be experts and say this is the privacy solution, and they don't even tell you why it's a privacy solution? I'm going to tell you because I don't know why I'm the only one that tells you this. For goodness sakes, I don't know why I'm the only one telling you this. I don't know. I guess it's a group thing. These people talk to each other and they support each other, and they go on Reddit and they say, oh yeah, this is the answer. Oh, this Rob Brax Phone, he's a scammer. Don't believe him. So yeah, they go and they pat each other on the back, and they're actually not thinking of the problem. They're not thinking of the problem, okay? So I'll tell you the truth. You cannot stop your data from leaking. So let's be frank about this. Frank, okay? And some of you are named Frank, but that's not the point. Let's really understand this. You cannot stop your data from leaking. You cannot. It's impossible. And some of them are doing little procedures like, we're going to stop these apps that have trackers, and that's going to save you. It's not going to save you at all. You cannot, just to make it clear, you cannot stop your data from leaking. The only way to stop your data from leaking is to not to use a phone. If you're going to use the phone, you're done. There's no way to stop your data from leaking. If you have a phone, that's it. So that is not the purpose of a de-Googled phone. This is a Brax phone. This is a Pixel running Lineage. This is Brax OS. This is Lineage. Okay. So the intent of these phones is not to stop your data from leaking. Incorrect for them to even think that, because you cannot. You are dumb if you think you can stop the data from leaking. You cannot. What these phones do is stop you from identifying the phone. Identification, identity. Why do these people not talk about this? Because their groupthink doesn't allow this discussion. They got to talk about, signal end-to-end encryption, this, that, all little things that you got to do in Android, and all little tricks on SUPL at google.com, and, the check-in that the Google does, that Android does at the beginning, and on and on, all these little details, which have nothing to do with the point. The point is identity. Why is identity important? They collect your data, folks. Everyone collects your data. If the data cannot be assigned to an identity, even an intelligence agency cannot make head or tails about the data. Example. You use your phone. They discover you're having an affair because of the content of what you're discussing on the phone with somebody. So somebody looks at that and said, oh, somebody's having an affair. If they don't know who it is useless information, folks. It doesn't matter what they catch you doing. If they can't identify you, it is meaningless. You do not have to waste your time stopping the data flow, because you cannot. So this one guy wrote some program that checks for, you know, Google services and trackers and all that, and you get a report, and then I get this all the time. Oh, your app is doing trackers and all that, so therefore your app is bad because you're doing trackers. Trackers means Google notifications, so any app that has the Google notifications will fall in this category, which is pretty much every app, except the ones on F-Droid. So every app will be bad based on this rule. And it also includes those that have cookies that do the trackers, the real trackers. So you have real trackers and Android trackers. Real trackers and notification trackers from Firebase. Okay? And so these people say, oh, all we have to do, do not install any app with trackers and you're safe. Do not install any app with trackers and you're safe. BS, folks. Biggest BS ever. I can't imagine that these people call themselves cybersecurity people. They're so proud of their skills. And they call me the whatever. They don't know a thing. They don't know a thing. So I'm going to teach you guys. I'm going to teach you. I'm not trying to defend myself. I don't have to. I just want you to learn. Okay? What you need to learn about is that you can be tracked without a zucking trace. You do not have to be tracked with a cookie. I thought I demonstrated that with my browser fingerprinting sample program that I have on brax.me/geo, brax.me/geo. You can test that. Okay, and I already told you can be tracked without a cookie. With a cookie, without a cookie, it doesn't matter. So the problem is if you're being tracked without a cookie, you are not going to know. You are not going to know. Which is why my point is you cannot stop your data from being collected. You cannot. There is no way to stop it. Your data will be collected, period. The only privacy solution from a real privacy expert, not some of these people who are wannabes, okay? The real actual answer, folks, is very simple. Do not identify the traffic. Simple. Do not identify the traffic. As long as you're unidentified, who cares what that traffic is? How are you identified? Well, on the phone, it's very easy. IMEI, MZ is the number one identifier. This is why 2FA, two-factor authentication on phones is very dangerous with Google, because they don't just do two-factor authentication with the phone number. They don't just collect the phone number. Google collects the IMSI and the IMEI. Okay? So let me summarize this, because I only have a few minutes left before we can do freeform. The answer is this. I don't really care what custom ROM you use, Android custom ROM. You can use product X, you can use product Y, you can use Lineage OS, you can use Brax OS. Some of them have advantages, some have disadvantages with certain issues. None of them, I think, are that serious. Some of them have minor advantages. I don't think it's major enough to say that you're going to lose your privacy. As far as I've seen, all of them protect your privacy pretty well if they don't have Google. Okay, are they perfect? Some of them are slightly imperfect, but not in a privacy sense. I don't sense that the kind of data that could be collected is significant data, because the data that needs to track you has to be identification data, meaning IMSI, IMEI. Those two are primarily the big ones. You can solve things like IP addresses with a VPN, Tor, you can do all that, but you cannot solve IMSI and IMEI. Because once you do that, you got what is called cross-device tracking, and then you're done. That is really the problem that most of you don't even understand. Once you're tracked on the phone, any device you use is tracked, because they're going to correlate to your device. Okay, so which one should you use? I personally sell you two, and one is Lineage OS. One of the reasons I use Lineage OS is primarily because it's well supported. It works on more phones than anything, and I've had more success with it on more phone models. And just for a production line point of view, you know, we deal with tech support, so we got to be able to handle the tech support. Some of the other custom ROMs are more restrictive. They're not really made for the average person to use. They're made to be constricted so you don't really do much on the phone, which is fine. But you got to understand that my clientele here tends to be more general, and they tend to expect a more typical behavior on phones. So I find that something closer to standard AOSP is a better fit for the average person. If you want to use the more narrowed down versions, it's fine. I don't have a problem with them. Just don't make any claims that they're somehow extra superior, because I'm not going to believe you. And they don't solve the privacy problem. And none of us, not even Brax OS, can solve the baseband modem problem. None of us can solve that. However, the entities that are hacking the baseband modem are not the same people doing the data collection for privacy. So they're not, one is more of a security threat and one is more of a privacy threat. From the privacy point of view, I am not worried about the baseband modem. From a security point of view, I am worried about the baseband modem. The problem is it's not solved by any solution. There is no solution at the moment other than to remove the SIM card. Okay, so any claims by anybody saying that their custom ROM somehow is secure is a false promise, because there is no way they can secure the baseband modem. And I'll try to explain that in the next video. Okay, so I hope you understand that. I'm going to be out of time in a second here, but I hope you understand the distinction here. What do I recommend that you use? You can use any of them as long as you understand their claims may be overstated on the security side. From the privacy side, simply having Google not on there is already a big plus. Now, just specific, one of the, again, this is the kind of things that, go around the internet and it's discussed heavily, and, I don't really watch some of this, but, they say, well, Lineage OS talks to supl.google.com, which is assisted GPS. So Google supplies a list of satellites, because if it can't find your area, it will try to figure out the satellites near you so it can connect to the GPS faster. It's called assisted GPS. It's part of what is called the connection to supl.google.com, which is built into every Android. So Lineage OS still connects to supl.google.com, again, for assisted GPS. Is that a big deal? I don't actually think so. I don't think that's, significant cause of a data leak of any sort, because I don't think that will pass the IMEI and IMSI and things like that. I don't believe it does that. No one has proven that it passes IMEI and IMSI, because you can trace the traffic. Nobody said, oh yeah, SUPL at google.com passes IMEI and IMSI, which is really the main issue that I'm concerned about. Yeah, it talks to Google. And so, yeah, it would be nice if it didn't do that. So it'd be nice if it didn't make that connection. Anything with google.com obviously could be a concern, even in a minor way. I think it's fairly minor, but Brax OS does not talk to supl.google.com. So Brax OS doesn't have that. So, and some other things. That's just one of them. So Brax OS does not communicate with Google on boot. or some Androids have a built-in thing where they connect to Google on boot, uh, just to check in. So none of these necessarily identify you. So I'm not concerned about them. They're not in the same league as Google Play, notifications, Firebase, and all these things that track you 24/7 with location tracking. It doesn't happen with that. That's not included as part of this. So I am not highly concerned because I don't think they identify. Again, what is the big thing that I look at? When I look at the threat, I said, does this offer a threat to identification? Not data flow. I'm not really concerned about data because you can't stop data. I already told you that. Can't stop data. My concern is, can you stop identification? If a threat is related to identity, I get really, really worried. That's why I'm worried about Signal and phone numbers. That's why I'm worried about Telegram and phone numbers. That's why I worry about WhatsApp. No, I worry more about WhatsApp because it's not just phone numbers. WhatsApp is tied to Facebook. So whoever's talking on Facebook is known on WhatsApp and vice versa. And it's in the terms of service. Okay, we'll continue in a second. I'm sorry my music didn't work because, I thought the music would play, but I guess it didn't play. So I'll decode it down to 1080p from 4K. 4K probably is too much. But I want to talk about my sponsor, which is Linode. As you guys know, I do not have many sponsors. In fact, sponsors are rare. Linode has been the sponsor of my live stream for coming on to 2 years now, soon. And I believe they're the only sponsor of my live stream so far. And I have not actually looked for any sponsor. In fact, I reject 99.999% of all offers for sponsorship because I don't need it. But one of the things that I've realized is, why not support a good company? So Linode is, of course, to some of you may know this, is my main cloud provider. So many of I have many servers, many servers, and they all run on Linode. And one of the reasons I like Linode is excellent service and excellent pricing. And you can get a server, if you want to learn about Linux, you can get a server for as low as $5 a month. In fact, you can run a website, put it on your server for $5 a month, run WordPress and all that, and you don't have to pay more than $5 a month. I don't know what you pay WordPress if you actually go to their site and make a WordPress there, but if you make it on Linode, it's $5 a month. Not bad at all. And that's all inclusive. There's no other cost that I saw. Traffic's included and so on. And it's very fair amount of traffic. It's really a good company. So I highly recommend it. And I'm happy to support companies that provide a good product for us. Okay. Okay, now back to what we're talking about. So I'm going to go back to reading your comments now. And Linode is now owned by Akamai. Is it really? They were a private company. I can ask them. I actually don't know that. So, yeah, I actually don't know that, but I can ask them. I can ask the people at Linode. I mean, I am in touch with them. Can they get my IMEI if I use a desktop connected to my tablet's hotspot? No. Well, depends on who they is. They. The carrier always sees the IMEI, but when a device does not have phone and text, they really can't see much on the data. Let me just make this clear to you. If you have an iPad, well, unfortunately, iPad is being tracked by Apple 24/7. So it's probably a bad example. So anyway, let's just assume that Apple isn't there, because I would never use an iPad as a hotspot for other reasons, because Apple is tracking it 24/7 and knows where that phone is even when it's off. So I mean, I'm so disgusted with Apple right now. I would definitely make a move not to ever move an Apple device from its current location. Just keep it there. If it's at home, keep it at home. Don't bring it anywhere. If you bring it anywhere, put it in a Faraday bag, because it's a dangerous piece of equipment. Anyway, if you have a hotspot, let's just not talk about an iPad, but let's talk about any other device that can hotspot. And if you have data only, this is a data only plan, or if you never use the phone on the device, or if you deactivate the microphone, the camera in some way on the device that it can only use data, I know, here's a good one. How about using one of those devices that does not have voice over LTE, because they cannot use voice? As you know, the carriers dump phones. They say, we can't service your phone. We cannot allow your Moto G7 because it's doesn't have voice over LTE, which I don't believe, but that's what they claim. Don't dump that phone, because you can use that as a hotspot. Since they will not activate the voice, then you buy a data only plan on whatever phone it is that can connect on LTE, data only, hotspot that, and now on the second device, you can do whatever you want on the internet. You can use voice over IP, you can use Signal, you can use with people you know, you can use Telegram with people you know, you can use better applications with people you don't know, like Jitsi for video and XMPP for chat, and that will go through the hotspot through the carrier, but the carrier is going to see just encrypted data because it's HTTPS. They don't actually see much of anything. What they rely on, this is the only source of data available to most of the carriers now. Thank you, Duron Yen. The only thing that they can really derive from the data side are the DNS data, and that's easily wiped out. You can wipe out your DNS data extremely easily without risk, and that is to use a VPN. And why is that? When you use a VPN, your DNS data is aggregated. So because it's aggregated, it makes no sense, because if you got 1,000 people doing a query on the same, on the same IP address, and they're calling different kinds of domains, and you can't associate it with an identity, the data is useless. Again, back to the identity problem. Without an identity, you can't really do much. Thank you, Don. I'll talk about Brax 2 in a second here. But the point is back to identity. This is really the point that all of these kind of beginner young people, I wish they would listen to me more, because they really, they need to develop more skills. Where they lack skill, they know how to use computers, apparently. They even know how to do, pen testing and hacking and ethical hacking and all that. They just don't understand the intelligence business. They really don't understand the threat to the intelligence business, because in the intelligence community, they use different tools, and these people don't know that. So the tools are analyze the metadata. If you know what they're doing, you can analyze metadata, then you hide the metadata. You get concerned about the metadata like I am. I'm extremely concerned about metadata all the time, because they don't need the data. They just need the metadata, which in this case is identity. Metadata gives identity. So that's what will solve you, is not to identify. So, anyway, what did I miss here in the comments? And thank you for, let me just answer the 2 super chats here. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Don. And I don't know what batch you're in. We'll talk about the batches later on. You're the only two we've heard with practical do's and don'ts. Duron Yen, I don't actually know the level of detail that Naomi Brockwell talks about. I actually, so I don't actually know. I mean, to be honest, so I couldn't tell you if if her detail is sufficient or not, or so. Uh, she's very popular, obviously, so that's good. So I wish everyone well in this, in the privacy field. This is not really a competition. We're here to teach. Some people attack others. I tend not to do that. That's why I don't mention names. So anyway, is it possible to make a phone go over 5G by changing to phone go over 5G by changing the chip? No. The phone is the phone. Actually, the next video will explain it a little bit better. Okay. Yeah. I've been examining the questions, and from the questions, I decided on my next video topic, and the next video topic will really focus on the extra computer on your phone, because as you know, your phone is an extra computer, and that's the danger. That extra computer, it's kind of like an Intel. You know about the Intel vPro, the Intel Management Engine IME, which is actually a computer next to the computer. So you got the big computer and you got a tiny computer on the side. That's what Intel did. They didn't make two computers. Well, your phone has several of those, but they're actually a phone has one main computer and many 2 or 3 little other computers, depending on the model. And although the one of them is a big one, maybe equal. And that's the fear. So that's what we need to explain, because that's one of these threats that we don't really have an answer for. It's not a privacy threat, it's a cybersecurity threat. It's a cybersecurity threat. So we need to discuss that, so that all these people making claims about, oh, my phone is safe because I use X Android custom ROM. No, your phone is no safer than any other phone. From a cybersecurity point of view, it is not. I am certain it can be hit by any number of attacks. I'm certain. Yeah, they could probably go to they could probably do buffer overflow and get right into the OS and with root. Yeah, so they've already done that. So yeah, not counting the governments that already have access. So let's talk about that in another video. It's just what is a good replacement for an iPad and a hotspot? Well, get any an Android phone, even an old Android phone, will be better than any iPad, as long as you don't use it for anything else. If it's just going to serve only as a hotspot, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's de-Googled, it would be better, but it doesn't have to be. So some of you have old Moto G7s that no longer work because whatever ducking thing AT&T did, which I have no explanation for. Don't worry, use it as get a data-only plan and use it as a hotspot. It doesn't matter that it doesn't have voice. Use it as a hotspot. It's going to be a good solution. What's the best RFID blocker for a phone? You do not need to concern yourself with RFIDs on a phone. RFIDs are all over you. They're not necessarily on the phone. So I don't know why you're concerned about RFID on the phone. Your phone is emitting Bluetooth, NFC, any number of other frequencies that have nothing to do with RFID. Okay, why is RFID important? RFID exists all over your body. It could be on your clothes. It's in every bag you get from a shop. It's in a book. It's in your car. It's in your car tires. It's everywhere. And somebody can drop it on you or put a little dot on your clothes and you will never know. That has nothing to do with a phone. A phone is not an RFID device. Let me see here. Have you seen the both side reporting on Ukraine? No, I don't. I'm going to stay away from that topic here. Okay. Let's see. Have you? My hotspot won't work when I use a VPN app. I don't see any reason for that, but okay. Do the hotspot without the VPN. Do the VPN from the devices that do the hotspot. So it may be just a restriction on the way that they want it to connect to a certain IP address to do the hotspot. Maybe, maybe a certain portal, and it's got to be an internal IP address. That may be why that does that. But you can do the VPN on the devices that connect to the hotspot. You're talking about a Faraday bag, which is this. So this works pretty well for me. Okay, I've tried this and it works. And the reason this one works for me is because this is copper mesh. So see all that? It's copper mesh. So it's very, very fine. Some of the ones that are sold are not fine copper mesh. This is fine copper mesh. So I could probably make one and sew one of these myself. But look how this is done. So you make a bag and then you fold over so that the copper mesh is folded. And you can see that's copper here, and then you fold over that. So you have a complete seal, and then it's the Velcro. I tried it. It works. There's a link in. Did I put a link in this video? But there's a link in some other videos on this Faraday bag. The Skynet video had a link to this Faraday bag. So if you know how to sew, what you do, you can actually buy copper fabric. This kind. So you look at it. It's very fine copper. Okay, it's a copper fabric. It's very fine. They sell one with like big X's. That's not going to work. It's got to be fine. So you can buy just the fabric. You can buy a lot of it. You can buy like a yard of it for not much, and you can make probably a ton of uses for that. Could you put a wall and just put copper fabric everywhere? You probably could. You could probably make curtains too of it. So yeah, you could probably make a curtain and put a copper liner. They also sell RF blocking paint. So if you use that copper blocking paint, RF blocking paint together with copper fabric, you could probably reduce transmission. Obviously, your phone isn't going to work. But for those of you concerned about that, so that's something that can be done, because copper fabric, being a fabric, is not really all that noticeable. And the paint that you see on, in fact, you can buy it on Amazon. It's expensive paint, and you can paint. I've always wondered, what do you do with paint? So you paint your walls, and then you got the windows. How do you block the windows? And I was trying to think about that, and then I found out that you can do copper fabric, which is very thin, so you can actually make an attractive curtain and put the copper behind it. So is it 100%? No, because you got the floor. So you can still get RF from the floor, but most of the RF goes upwards. So it's you can eliminate a lot of the RF from what I'm talking about if you're sensitive to that. Okay. So it'd be nice to, if I had a room like that, just to do RF testing. See, I don't have that, I don't have that. Just an RF testing room. It doesn't have to be a big room, just be a tiny room, and then you do RF paint all over, and then use copper copper fabric all around. Yeah, I don't have that space. It would be nice to do testing so you can isolate the RF. Good copper has to be pricey. The copper mesh fabric, you can check on Amazon. It did not seem that expensive. It's not that, I mean, some fabrics, some real fabrics, like, nice upholstery fabric is expensive. So, some upholstery fabrics are like $50 a yard. I don't think this approaches that. Okay. Somebody is asking about Brax 2 phone. So we'll talk about Brax 2 phone. Okay. I didn't even talk about Brax 2 phone so far. Okay. This runs Brax OS, as I said, which is an Android custom ROM, which has features that are not in Lineage OS. And we are adding to it. Many of the programs on here were rewritten. They're not part of Android. Like the contacts program, the dialer, and all that are not the standard with Android AOSP. It was all rewritten. So this has more programs in it that were rewritten to make sure that they are safer. In addition to that, I told you a lot of the calls that go to Google and all that, that's all been eliminated from this. And obviously, because of that, it's going to be safer than even Lineage OS. Although I don't think they're necessarily a serious problem. The reason being, they're only serious if they emit identity, which I don't think those flaws that we mentioned reveal identity. But in any case, we are taking care of that, and we're going to do more. Now, Brax OS has been sold out. I've sold a lot of these. I have to tell you, I have not sold this many phones in this short period ever. I have the volume of this is incredible. I had no idea. I was telling you for months here. Oh yeah, I have sufficient stock of this because I'm looking at my normal phone volume, and I've been selling phones for 2 years. And I know what the normal volume is. And when I sold this, I was like shocked that, the first batch was sold in 7 hours. By 7 a.m. it was sold on March 1. Batch 2 was sold in what? 2 days? 2.5 days? I think. Batch 2. Batch 3 is much larger because I doubled the order. So batch 3 is a much larger batch. So because of that lasting twice as long, so batch 3 will run out by this weekend. So after this weekend, it will be batch 4. So I expect that early next week I'm gonna place the order for batch 4. So. I mean, that's amazing. That's just thank you for your support. And we shipped batch 1 today. There's a few stragglers, not that many, just a few, because one of the packages did not arrive. We didn't get all the phones at once. There was some that were missing, and when that arrives, we'll ship those out. I think there's no more than a dozen maybe that hasn't been shipped in batch 1. So labels are printed, and when we get those, they'll ship out. So we just ran out of phones. I wish I had a Brax phone to show you tonight, a production one, but I had to ship them out, so I don't have one. So this is the pre-production model. So I personally don't even have a production model yet because I got to transfer all my stuff to it, and I can't even do that because I don't have a spare phone. So anyway, so batch 1 will have been shipped out. So thank you for your patience on that. Batch 2 will ship out next week. I don't see any delay with that. So batch 2 will ship out. Batch 1 was delayed because it was held up in customs for, 5 days. No reason given. It was delayed in customs and then undelayed. I don't know why. You can ask FedEx. I really have no information as to why. There was no reason for the delay. So anyway, so that's handled. So the next batch should not have that. Well, crossing my fingers since I don't know, but things happen. Anyway, batch 2 should arrive early next week, so we will ship it shortly after that. And yeah, the phone is $379. It's, as you can expect, it's fairly inexpensive, the phone, and as you can expect, I'm not making a lot of money on each one of these. So it was about volume, which fortunately is happening. So I am getting the volume. The problem is if we run out of phones. So yeah, I'm kind of afraid we might sell more than the Pine phones. So they sold so many of the Pine phones, and I'm kind of worried that we will sell more than Pine phones. So there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of orders. So, and it's not, doesn't seem to be abating. It does not work on Verizon. No. The reason it doesn't work on Verizon is because it uses a MediaTek Helio P60 SoC motherboard, and that is not Qualcomm. Verizon only works with Qualcomm. Okay, so the question was on the dual SIM. So I'll show you this. I showed you this before, but I'll repeat it now. Again, this is not the production model, so it may not look exactly like this. This is a sample, pre-production sample. So I'm going to go into the section here that says SIM cards. Okay, how do I do this safely? Okay. How do I do this safely? I don't have any. Okay, hold on a second here. The problem is the phone number showing. So I don't want to keep changing phone numbers. So let me just tape up so I'm blocking the phone number so I can show you this. Okay, so okay, here we go. SIM cards. Okay, so there's the SIM card section. So you can see you have a little toggle. You can toggle the SIM card. You can toggle SIM card 1 or SIM card 2. Now right below it, you can say what each SIM card is supposed to do. So you can enable it for texting. You can enable it for voice or data, and you can select which SIM card is to be used for what. So for example, mobile data is going to use, let's say as an example here, you can say for mobile data, I'm going to use SIM card 1. For calls coming in, this is incoming calls, use SIM card 1. For SMS messages, use SIM card 2. So you can see the value of that. So, depending on who's calling. Now, if people know the exact number of the SIM card, then this obviously will be ignored. It'll just go to that phone number. But this is the default. So, so that gives you a little bit of control here. So when you're making calls and whatever, you don't have to think, oh, which one is it going to use? So I'm sorry, outgoing calls, because incoming will be the phone number. So I'm talking about outgoing. So when you do an outgoing call, it's going to use the SIM card that you select here. So you don't have to say, I'm going to use SIM card 1 and then SIM card 2 is dead. It doesn't work like that. Both are active. You just have to select which one is used for a certain purpose. So for incoming, the traffic will coming and incoming to whoever contacts the phone number for that SIM card. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Okay, so let's say you have 2 phone numbers on there and you use one for 2FA, which is what I recommend. So if you do 2FA, so the 2FA phone number will be the second SIM card, let's say. So that will then text the second SIM card, and it should show up from that. if you're texting out, or your friends are texting you from your normal number, then that should go on the SIM card for your normal number. If you don't specify, you can specify that your data will only use SIM card 1. Maybe that's your data plan that's cheaper, and maybe your second SIM card is for texting only, so you don't want any data to go on there. Maybe you refuse calls on that SIM card, and maybe you do texting only. So you can play all these little tricks in there. Okay, so yes, so for outgoing, that's what you choose. Incoming will be whatever is used. Okay, so it appears to be flexible. Now, I do not have it running yet. I have not used dual SIM yet because I don't have a phone here. So when I get the actual live one, I'm gonna play with the dual SIM because I think this will solve a lot of our 2FA problems. I think that dual SIM is very rare in the U.S. We don't use dual SIM here, and we're gonna enjoy it for 2FA. So you can use a inexpensive provider like Ting.com. There's a referral link in my description on the video. If you would hit that, it would be appreciated. And you can do a Ting card for, I don't know, probably $10, and use it for 2FA only, and it'd be cheap and be a good way to do privacy, and still have an extra number. And with Ting.com, you pay only as you use it. So let's say you need to use it for voice on occasion because you're talking to somebody that you don't normally talk to. You can use the second SIM card for that purpose, and Ting.com will charge you only for using voice on that month. So it's because it's paid by use. So that kind of makes it handy. If you don't use it, there's not much cost. If you don't use the texting, if there's no 2FA for the month, the cost just goes to a base level, which I believe is $6 a month. So if there's no activity, it will go to a base level. Okay, so it's pretty good. So anyway, so that's the Brax phone for you. Again, Brax phone is an inexpensive phone. So some of you will say, well, it's not as fast as a Samsung S22 or a Google 6 Tensor 6 or a iPhone 13 Max Pro. Yeah, but it doesn't spy on you either, and for the price, it's actually a good performer. One of the amazing things about this phone, even though it's kind of a medium level CPU, it's not one of the fast CPUs. It's not a fast CPU. But yet the graphics are good, and that's because the graphics accelerator is good. And the other thing is the camera is optimized. There's some AI in the Helio P60 chip from MediaTek, and they really did a good job with the camera. The camera on this phone is 48 megapixel capability and 25 megapixel on the front. 48 on the back, 25 on the front, which is pretty amazing for a low price phone. So the camera is actually, you're not giving up anything on the camera. It's pretty good quality. The pictures are going to come out quite well because it's like AI built by MediaTek. So they basically put all their efforts into the AI for the camera on this phone model while keeping the cost down. So if you're asking what the phone model is that it's based on, and somebody made a comment on that in the last video, so I'll tell you what I know. The form factor, when I say what the model is that uses the same parts, it's actually not the same phone. So just because I say it, it is not the same phone. Does not have identical specs, but it uses the same parts. Okay, so the case, the CPU, and the camera. Let me repeat that: case, CPU, and camera are the same as a CoolPad Cool S. Okay, same. I don't believe it's the same screen. I don't believe it's the same battery. I don't believe they're exactly the same, but it's the same as a CoolPad Cool S. Okay, which is a very popular brand in China. The reason it uses those parts is because in order to save money, you have to use common SoCs and parts shared by many phones. You can mix and match in the phones. And if you do that, then you keep the cost of the phone down. The phone itself is made in the same factory as a CoolPad Cool S, same factory, which is why it uses some of the same parts, because you ask them to source a phone and they construct one for you and they say we can come up with this, and do you like it? And you say yes, and then they say okay, well, we'll go with that. And of course they get the parts and source it from whatever, and of course they've sourced the parts from what they already have access to, which in this case is the same factory that constructs CoolPad Cool S, although it is not CoolPad Cool S. It's not that company, it's just the factory that makes it. So the factory that makes it also makes CoolPad Cool S. This phone is not a CoolPad Cool S. This phone is a Brax OS running X2. It has its own CE rating, FCC, all that. It's its own model. This model doesn't exist anywhere. It's its own certification. It's an independent certification for this phone model. Okay, the only importance for people asking about CoolPad Cool S is from people saying, well, can I get a case for it? That is not the case that we provide. This is the case that's provided to you. If you don't like this case, you can probably go to Alibaba or AliExpress, sorry, not Alibaba, AliExpress, and look for CoolPad Cool S. It's a new model phone in China, so I don't see a lot of cases for it. But if you want to look for other cases because you don't like what we provide you, at least there are some options there. Obviously, parts are going to be easy to get because it comes from that factory. So when the time comes and we need parts, we're going to source it from that factory. Okay, so yeah, it's actually not a bad looking case. I don't know why people are saying, I want a different case. It actually, it's not a bad looking case at all. Okay, and it comes with a screen protector too, which I do not have on. So for such a low price as this phone, this is not junk. It's actually a nice phone. It's a nice phone for this price. It's not junk. I'm not selling you a junk phone. It's actually pretty nice quality. So and all the parts are also quality. So it's nicely done. Obviously every year you got to look at the next model. So yes, next year we'll come up with a different model, and I'm glad that this model is selling, because that means we have more clout to modify the next model more. I know some of you are making requests about this model. You wish you had this, wish you had that. We have to keep the cost down. This is one of the reasons it's selling is the cost is down. And the reason we're able to keep the cost down is because we're using existing SoCs and existing parts. Okay, so I don't believe this is the screen of a. This screen does not match a CoolPad Cool S, and some of the other components inside do not match a CoolPad Cool S. So this is not a CoolPad Cool S. However, they do share the case, the motherboard, and the camera. So if you look at the CoolPad Cool S, yes, those are identical. So there's nothing to hide here. It is what it is. And, there's obviously a FCC rating and CE rating on it. So it's tested separately from any other phone. So it has its own independent certification. I couldn't sell it otherwise. Okay? So this is really the issue. So this is a pre-production model. So when I get the final one, I'm going to load it up and test the dual SIM because I've never used dual SIM before. I'm just telling you how it appears to operate based on just clicking on this and looking at the settings, and I say, oh, that's how that works. Okay, I did not know how dual SIM worked. Oh, you just want it to work. It should work. How is the Brax Phone project doing? Is that what I was just talking about that. So anyway, I am utterly amazed at the volume. I mean, we are going to sell a lot of these. We're going to sell a lot of these. Likely more than Pine phones. And I love the people in the Pine Phone project. They're great. But as a practical phone that actually is friendly to consumers, I think, to a normal user, you're not gonna. Aside from the fact that there's no Google in here, it operates pretty much like a normal phone. And I control the OTA updates. In fact, we just had a training class on doing the OTA updates on this, and running all the internal systems for doing the it's on my server, so I control exactly what goes on here. If I said, I don't like my opening banner, I think I'm going to change it tomorrow, I can do that. So there's stuff we can do. Now, some of you are asking, it is not waterproof at all. It is not waterproof. It is not waterproof. At this price range, don't expect that. The waterproof phones are close to $1,000. It is not waterproof. And probably that will never be a goal because of some of our objectives. If we want to have replaceable batteries, it will never be waterproof. Okay? So, this is actually a very good phone for the price, and a very good phone for the first Brax phone. And our team in Europe is, I'm sure, watching the live stream, or will be watching the live stream when they wake up, and they're very excited when I talk about this. And I'm excited too because they have done a good job, and proud of their work. And there's some more I want on this, and we're working on that, and we will continue working on that. And then fortunately the phones can have updates, and not only that, the phone can have updates even with higher Android versions. So we can increase the versions, and we will continue to have updates on the phone while there are people using the phone. Okay, so it will be supported while it's useful. When we know that nobody's using the phone, then we don't have to update it. But while people are using the phone, we have no reason not to update it. Okay? Is there a flip phone that allows? Is there a flip phone that allows pass-through internet? No, but you can just take in any old phone and use it as data only, if they let you. Like LTE though. Find an LTE phone and then get a data only SIM, and then you put the data only SIM on there. Ask for a data only SIM, and then they won't care what the model of the phone is. Okay? So the problem is most data only SIMs are expensive because they expect you to have unlimited. So like T-Mobile charges $50 for a month for a data only SIM, which is excessive for, if you're not going to use it that much. So for that, I might as well just use Ting.com. Okay. Contacts is rewritten. Right. So there's no little tricks there to send data to Google. That's verified. I'm looking at the contacts and saying, is there anything we need to do here that we need to be concerned about? And actually, no, because it's already permission based. All you do is make sure that no one has rights to contacts that shouldn't have any rights to contacts. So For example, typically Signal will get rights to contacts, and because if you need to use Signal in a big way, then it's going to get rights to contacts. So my solution is that you clean up your contact list and maintain a contact list that's very, very minimal. If you want, make several contact lists and share only a short list. I have to study how to do that. I believe you can create multiple lists and then select a shorter list for Signal, so Signal doesn't get access to your entire contact list. So that's a bit of a project. It's kind of hard to do. So in fact, I did it yesterday. I actually went through my contact list and cleaned it up. So it's something that, we need to purge every so often. I haven't done that. So yes, the Brax 2, the Brax 2 phone, Brax OS, contacts, dialer, all of those apps are rewritten. Yes, we did not rewrite the what am I talking about here? The camera app. We did not. The camera app uses Open Camera. So, and obviously we did not rewrite like Micro G or Aurora Store or anything like that. For some of you, Aurora Store has been down the last few days, last week. I don't know what's up with Aurora Store, but it's kind of down and it's kind of a pain. And the answer is to go to apkpure.com. So go to your browser, go to apkpure.com, and then you can search for apps there. If you prefer, and I prefer this, there is an app for apkpure.com on that apkpure.com site. And then I installed the app, and it's a lot easier to use than a website. So if Aurora Store gives us a problem, use apkpure.com. So, life continues on. It's not the end of the world. Okay? So, yeah. So APKPure.com has the advantage of having every version, including old versions of apps, not just the current version, because it is not Google Play. APKPure is not connected to Google Play. Be careful, though, because APKPure.com will have bad apps, too. There's nothing to prevent somebody from putting bad apps on there. So since nobody's checking Google Play, which is where Aurora Store gets its code from, content from, is a restricted list that's been curated by Google. APKPure.com is not curated. So if it's an app you don't know, be careful. Okay? I have unlimited data for $35 a month. Yeah, you're talking about phone. I'm talking about data-only plans. Data-only plans. So I have the APKPure app on Android box. Use it instead of Google. Yes, that's good. But again, be careful. Just make sure you understand what apps you're installing. What happened to all the viewers? I see all the viewers. They're right here. There's not that many of you. There's only 334 viewers. Not our usual, 800 to 1,000 when the topic is interesting. Okay, can you make your phone so we can host a website from it? No, of course not. If you want to host a website, you do it on Linode. You can't host a website from a phone. Your phone is not always on. Okay? So, what else? Can you talk about... No. Okay, so they keep sending me text to get me to government-paid phone. They want to give you an Obama phone, huh? Even with Obama not there, they're still giving you Obama phones. Okay. You don't need to build a Linux server. You just go to Linode and they set it up for you. And they can set it up for you with the apps already loaded, like, WordPress. You can say, applications, WordPress server, click, running. You got a WordPress server. Are you recording this live? I do not record this. Oh, YouTube is recording it, yes. How to get all of your photos off Google. You can ask Google that. Okay, somebody was asking me this. How do you get your photos off a Brax phone? Well, easy. Put an SD card on the phone. It does come with an SD card slot. Copy all your photos, move it to your computer or wherever you want to move it to, and then you can put the SD card back. Okay, so that's the easiest. You actually don't need anything else. If you want to pass data from computer to phone, from another phone to the phone, SD card. Okay, on the Lineage OS phones that we sell, you can plug in the USB cable to this into the computer, and you can access the drive directly. Okay, by default, that is not on a Brax phone because it has the SD card. So it has a little bit more security in that. This one, it's not meant to be more secure with that. You can turn that off, but that's a default on our Lineage installs because it's for ease of use. Because the difference is, and it's a philosophical difference, guys, as I'm running out of time. The difference is that I don't want you to use the phone like you do an iPhone where you rely on it and you're on it every day and this is your device. That is not the kind of use I recommend on a Google phone. A Google phone should be used less, do most of your activity on a computer. Less on the phone, more on the computer. So I don't really expect people to do long-term storage on the phone. So, you should be taking off your images and transferring it to your computer. That's really what I recommend. The SD card can be as large as 512 gigabytes, but for speed reasons, you should probably stick to 256 gigabytes or less. Okay, so try not to overdo that, or the performance will be slower. Okay, so I'm running out of time here. I got 8 minutes, so let's see what other comments I can handle here. Do you have your own phone service? If I purchased your phone, no, I do not. I'm not like Google. Google Fi. Google Fi, by the way, is T-Mobile. So if you think it's anything special, no, it's just T-Mobile. Will a sat phone be available to buy as well? No, I do not do sat phones. You can get sat phones. Sat phones are fine, except they do not work indoors. So if you're only willing to talk outdoors and have internet outdoors, then yes, you can use a sat phone. For indoor use, they're not very useful. If you're on a boat, sat phones are great. If you're at home, probably not. Okay? So just to make sure you understand that part. Russia will disconnect you from the internet tomorrow. Ting uses T-Mobile. Brax 2 phone does not work with OTG on the go that I am aware of. There may be a switch to turn it on, but I think by default it is off. I read that somewhere. I can't recall that now, but yeah. So assume that you can't use. Let me just see if there's a special setting here. I'm wrong. No, I'm wrong. There's an option here to use USB. Let me just see if I can turn it on. I can't enable it though. Yeah, it says you can share internet connection by Bluetooth, but I'm not able to do it by USB. Maybe because I don't have a USB OTG cable. It's an option on here though. I see an option. There's an option there. For USB with the hotspot. So it's not enabled, so I can't tell you if I can get that to work or not. Okay, so OTG is hardware. Yeah. Meaning it's a USB with a chip on the USB to allow on the go. That's what OTG means, on the go. So, yeah. So, do not know. There's no reason to do a thumb drive. Please stop this thumb drive business. I don't know why you keep talking about a thumb drive. You do not need a thumb drive. It has a SD card. Why would you worry about a thumb drive when there's an SD card? It's easier. Take the SD card, move it to your computer, done. Why do you need anything extra? Why do you need to do anything extra? Why do you need extra cable? Why do you need extra devices? There's no need for any extra device. It comes with a SD card. There are multiple ways to do an SD card adapter to USB. I mean, I'm looking for one. I have one here somewhere. I mean, I use it so often. USB, SD card, USB adapter. That's all you need. Then it's a thumb drive. You don't need a separate thumb drive. Don't make your life complicated. It does come with a cowbell. Any supply update on the Brax router? I mean, I'm losing business with this Brax router business. I mean, it's been months since I sold a Brax router, and you know, a lot of you buy a Brax router. It's a very popular product, and I can't sell one because there's a worldwide supply chain issue with Brax Raspberry Pi. So, yeah, and it should be, you know, open by now. So watch Amazon. When Amazon starts selling Raspberry Pis, that's my supplier. So if they can sell on Amazon, then they can sell it to me. But at the moment, I can't buy any. I already have orders. They already haven't shipped me my order that I made in October. Okay. So what else? Bytes VPN profiles, a very good question. So we're working on that, on loading a Bytes VPN profile. It may be part of the next OTA update. We're discussing the best solution for that, and I think the best solution is just to write a small app where you click on it and it downloads all the profiles, the latest profiles, which you can do anytime, onto your files folder so you can use it with OpenVPN. So that's the current discussion. If we can do that, then we can load the app in and do that. But it might be included as part of the OS itself. So we're discussing the best method right now, but it'll be another update before we do that. So it may not be immediate. Okay. What else? What did I miss here? Thank you, Boss M. Foss. Okay, so what else did I miss here? Again, we will have, for at least for March and maybe April, we will have an adequate supply of Brax 2 phones based on the current volume. If the volume increases, I am not sure. Okay, so at least for the next 2 months, we should have enough of these phones. Beyond that, then I can't tell you, because we may run out. So we sold a fairly sizable amount. Like I said, we may be selling more than a Pine phone, and at this rate, we are selling more than a Pine phone. So kind of crazy. So crazy volume, and very happy, of course, that that's happening, but it's going to cause some supply problems here. So we're good for now. We have stock. We're going to go to batch 4 probably on Monday or Sunday. We're in batch 3. Batch 3 will run out this weekend. Batch 3 is a much bigger batch. And can you connect to monitor? I do not know. I do not know. I can't. I don't really have equipment for that, and I don't have a production model here for that. Batch 2 is shipping next week. Batch 1 has been shipped. Okay? iTunes unsafe on a computer. I don't think iTunes is too significant. Okay, so batch 4. Yeah, batch 4 will be Monday. Batch 4 will likely ship in April. I can't imagine batch 4 shipping before then. So maybe like the first week of April for batch 4. So anyway, thank you for watching, guys. We are out of time. And hope you pay attention to the first 30 minutes. You understood the points I'm trying to make there. And we'll talk about the next subject matter, which I hope you will watch in the next video, which is the secret extra computer on your phone. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye-bye.